Hello. I think if we're going to do this whole section, we need a cup of tea. So one for you, one for me. And if they go clinky, 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 you know what it is. We're both slurping our tea. So let's have a look at this. 90%. Number one, always keep an eye on numbers. It's easy to sort of get lost a bit, and that can cause trouble. 90% of 6, 8, 9. I would say first find 10% of that. So we move the decimal point over once, because there's one naught in 10, so you move it over once. And write out what you're doing. 10% equals 68.9. How many percent? So you could either take that off, except I haven't got my columns right, or if that's 10%, 90% is 9 times that, so times it by 9. 9 times 9 is 81. 8 times 9 is 72, and 8 is 80. 6 times 9 is, do you know, I got this wrong the other day and it caused all sorts of trouble. 6 times 9 is 54, plus the extra 8, 62. Does that sound right to you? I hope so. Now, because we're multiplying with a decimal, how many numbers after the decimal? Just this one here, so we bounce it in once. And does that sound right? A bit less than 100 times 9. So if that was 100, it'd be 900, but it's a bit less than that. It's in the right ballpark, isn't it? And should we check our answer sheet just to make sure I've got it right? Ta-da! And that's right. So Control A, Control Z. Now let's have a look at number 2. Write the number there. I know of a girl, I didn't actually teach her, 70% of 3. And what she did was she missed out number 2 on the English paper, which was always A, B, C, D, E. And then she transposed 3 into number 2, 4 into number 3. Oh no! And failed the exam as a result. And their parents went to appeal and they said, yeah, she would have got, most of these right. Very bright girl. Well done. You must be very proud of her. So yes. So you'll have her with you. No. If she's that bright, she'd know that the answer for number 5 goes in the box with a little number 5 next to it. Painful. So once again, find 10%. So that 10%, that's a tenth, isn't it? So move it over once. So 10% equals 0.3. How many percent do we want? We want 70%. So if you multiply this side by 70, you multiply that side by 70. So times it by 7. 7 times 7 is 49. Notice I'm ignoring the decimal. 0 times 7 is 0 plus the 4. How many numbers after the decimal point? There's just this one here. So we bounce it in once. 4.9. Now that's not right, is it? No, because of course it's, and that's why you have to do a common sense check, because you'll make mistakes like that. That's not a 3, is it? If you thought about getting a tutor that can do this stuff, it could help. No, rubbish. We'll start that bit again, shall we? So we've got our 70%. No. And the common sense bit was that 70% of 3 is going to be a bit less than 3, isn't it? It's going to be 2-ish. It's about 2/3 of 3, which is 2-ish. And so I ended up with 4.9. That's not right. So always have a common sense check. So 10% of 3, move the decimal point over, is 0.3. Ta-da! 70%. Multiply this side by 7, multiply that side by 7, times 7. 7 times is 21. 0 times 7 is 0. And the 2, I was going to say is 9. 0 times 7 is 0. Plus 2 is 2. One number after the decimal point, so we bounce it in once. Now you could have just brought it down and you'd got it right, but through sheer dumb luck. So the answer is 2.1. Is that about 2/3? Yes, it is. That was a bit better, wasn't it? Should we check the answers? I think perhaps I should, under the circumstances. Yep. Number 3. 80% of 1. Can you see that that is 0.8? We can do it the old, 10%, move the decimal over, is 0.1. Therefore, 80%, multiply that side by 8, multiply this side by 8, is 0.8. Ta-da! I've completely lost my confidence here. So there's the answer. Right, Control out, Control X. Let's do the next one. 20% of 98. So 10% of 98 equals, move it in once, 9.8. 20% is double that. Do you want to times by 2 or add them together? I fancy adding them together, but either will do. Now this time we've got our decimals one above each other. 8 and 8 is 16, carry the 1, 18, 19, bring down the decimal, 19.8. Does that sound about right? 20% of 100 is 20, and therefore it's a tiny bit less, and that's a tiny bit less. Ta-da! And so it is. Next one. 70% of 5 are common sense. Oh, I should be putting the numbers up here, shouldn't I? Common sense says it's going to be 4-ish. 10%, probably a little bit less. So 10% equals, bring the decimal over once because there's 1 naught in 10. So it's 0.5. How many percent did we want? 70%. So if you multiply this side by 7, you multiply that side by 7. 0.5 times 7. 5 times 7 is 35. 0 times 7 is 0. Plus the 3 is, there we are. And then how many numbers after the decimal point? 1. So bounce it in. And there's our answer. Happy? And one more. Oh, I like this one. It's nice, isn't it? When you, every now and again, you get a really nice one. You think, oh, that's good. 5, 7, 8. So be careful. 100%. So if there are 100% chocky bars and you eat all of them, that means you'd have eaten 578. Thank you very much.